Welcome back. You're watching Power News, and today we're bringing you an exclusive coverage on the flagship event of WEC-IMC, India Energy Congress 2012, Emerging Opportunities in Energy Sector. The Indian power distribution sector is witnessing a lot of activities of late, with positives like increased consumer demand on the back of GDP growth, increased urbanization, rural electrification and increased private sector participation. Apart from high financial losses and debt burden hampering the development of the electricity distribution sector, there are several challenges related to the policy and regulatory initiatives.
With the gradual tightening of efficiency norms and shifting to tariff-based procurement of electricity, I hope that ultimate consumer will not be burdened with the cost of inefficiencies of generation, transmission and distribution. With all-round economic growth happening in the country, along with the increased urbanization and focus on rural electrification, the consumers will be more and more demanding. It is the responsibility of each of us to respond to the event in a constructive manner.
The Government of India made a very strong intervention in the year 1998, 99 and thereafter in 2003 in bringing about the necessary legislative changes which could bring about a change in the management and outlook and depoliticize distribution as an entity.
IT part was missing from 10th plan. The idea was that we should try to minimize human intervention in the distribution sector so that we can reduce commercial losses. And fortunately today this 51,000 crores RAPDRP program is being implemented. Part A is having 10,000 crores which is 100% grant. Similarly, to cover non-APDRP and non-RGGY areas, Government of India has approved another scheme, interest subsidy scheme of 8,600 crores, under which interest subsidy will be given to the state power utilities and for private sector also, private discoms also, to reduce AT&C losses. And I am happy to inform that reform parameters will be tied up for releasing the funds under this.
What Delhi has established is a viable reform model which can be, I would not say that it can be replicated in toto across the country, but certainly Delhi has demonstrated that there is a reform model possible. While Odisha has come out as how not to privatize, how not to reform, Delhi has probably become an example of how to, and probably it can be done.
First and foremost are what I call the technology issues. Fundamentally, unless we get new technology in, which is in terms of new metering, new systems, new switch gears, SCADA, there's no way that you can proceed further than what you achieved. So technology is one great issue. Unfortunately, the government system binds you through a system of tendering, transparency in purchase and procurement, which is very correct. But when you're looking at tendering and transparency, you may not get the best or the latest technology. So we need to somehow grapple with that challenge. I really don't know what can be the solution in this environment, but that's one.
Globally, the fuel mix is gradually shifting away from oil and coal to gas or renewables. Though the fuel mix is projected to change relatively slowly, gas or non-fossil fuels are likely to gain a higher share at the expense of coal and oil. Among fossil fuels, natural gas is expected to grow the fastest. As the Indian economy moves towards a cleaner energy mix, a number of attractive growth opportunities are emerging in and around the entire energy value chain.
In 2011 itself, the world oil demand has grown by approximately more than 1 billion barrels in the emerging world, whereas in the developed world, OECD countries, it has declined by about 450,000 barrels, close to 500,000 barrels. And if you see the decline in the last couple of years, between 2 to 4% has been the decline. But India, China, Middle East continue to grow, they continue to demand more energy. And the reason being, one of the biggest reasons, apart from the growth that is required in these countries to improve the standard of living of the people. But as far as the transportation, as far as the oil and gas is concerned, especially oil is concerned, the main driver for the growth is the transportation fuel. And there are studies which say that all this growth which is happening on account of the growth of the transportation fuel.
I would suggest that government already has a legislation which is the Petroleum and Natural Gas Regulatory Board, and the government should leave the micromanagement and determining the prices on day-to-day basis, even for those products which are continuing to be regulated. It should be left to the regulator, subject to the guidelines that the government gives, and government should decide the subsidy that it is going to offer, and that should be upfront. On basis of that subsidy, government would be able to get an idea of what would be the range of price of the product, whether, for example, petrol, whether it would come to 60 rupees to a litre or 70 rupees to a litre, and accordingly it can modulate the subsidy element if the government wants the prices to remain within a particular range. And that should apply more to diesel, kerosene and LPG.
When 4 decades ago gas was struck in the western offshore fields, the government decided where this gas will be used, where the pipelines will go. So it planned the whole thing, and HVJ pipeline came about. But I think when we hit KG Basin gas, the government sort of just did not take responsibility to ensure that this gas will be utilized in a particular sector, or it will be used for, the pipelines will carry it to a particular region. That is because of its compulsions in the production sharing contract, where it had committed to giving freedom to the producer to market it at arm's length.
Today, government policy is that domestic gas will be allocated to the power plants as and when available, and the stations which are ready for commissioning. What does it mean? It basically means that you make an investment, set up the power plant, and if the gas is available, we will give you the gas. The result is many of the power stations are becoming standard. We have seen in the past many power stations in Andhra Pradesh were standard, there were no gas, the assets were, a lot of investments was made which was not being utilized. Now also we understand almost about 8 to 10,000 megawatt capacity is under commissioning, but again, even for the existing capacity, the gas is not available. So what is required is that there should be in principle consent to give the gas, so that those generating companies can make investment for setting up the gas-based stations.
Here we'll take another short break. Ahead in the program, we'll look into opportunities and challenges in coal and renewable energy sector. Stay tuned in.